Terry. Good morning, everyone. Let's get started just like usual. You're going to either be seated or standing. The main thing is we want to make sure we're really lengthening through the spine. Think of elongating. If you're standing, I also want you to tuck your pelvis under, okay? Chin tucks first. Let's get ready. 10 reps and begin. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, let's make sure we still have that length through our spine, whether we're seated or standing. We're going to do our head turns, 5 each side. Let's get ready and begin. 1, back to center. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Excellent. We're going to get into the second half of our warm up now. We're going to get the whole body temperature warmed up here, all the joints warmed up. Same warm up as the exercises as the last two workouts. So we're going to start with they're 30 seconds each, no rest in between, but if you need some rest, you need a drink, just take it when you need it, okay? Come back when you're ready. 4 count cherry pickers is our first one. So we're reaching out, middle, in, getting that nice stretch through the back of the body here with a neutral spine. And then we're going to reach it up as long as that feels comfortable, okay? All right, 30 seconds is going on the clock. Let's get ready and begin. Okay, so you can do this seated as well. You still keep that distance between your feet. You're wider than shoulder width. And you're just sitting on your chair as you're reaching outwards towards the middle and then inwards and then up as long as that feels comfortable. We're halfway through this one, and then we're going to go into hamstring curl kickbacks with a pullback. So 5 more seconds here. 3, 2, and 1. Right into a ham curl kickback. I've kind of got those rowboat row arms, like I have oars in my hand and I'm rowing, okay? So right here, the only difference if you're seated, it's more of a toe tap back because of, being a little closer to the floor there, okay? So 10 more seconds here, seated or standing, and then we're gonna go back into alternating knee raises. All right, here we go. So knee, you can give a hand pull down here if that's too hard, but you can still get your knees up. Try that, okay? If you can get the hands. And if you're seated, okay? So to keep it going, we're doing 2 rounds through of this warm up today. Next, we're gonna do our side step with lateral raise. 2 and 1, so that looks like side, side. So I'm only bringing my elbows up to shoulder height, okay? Just up to shoulder height, kind of like I'm flapping like a bird here, right? Side to side, warming up those glute meads. If you're seated, we're tapping, okay? Our next one is gonna be side bends, alternating side bends in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So side, side, okay? So seated or standing. If you're standing, you'll have more of a little kind of opposite toe touch because of the nature of the movement standing. And if straight up overhead is just uncomfortable for your shoulder, maybe try up and over, okay? Forward and over, okay? Just like this. So play around with what feels best for your shoulders here. We're going to do our calf step back with our front raise next. Here we go. So it's full heel back, okay? Front raise, full heel back. Okay, I want you to feel a little dynamic stretch through your calf as you boom, boom, okay? Boom, boom, okay? Seated, this one's a little bit harder, so you can do it like a flex and a point here. Flex and points. Here's just an idea of how to get into your calves if you're in a chair and that's more comfortable. All right, back to the top, guys. Cherry pickers. Out, middle, in. If you can, reach it up. Start to think of your core engagement here as we're warming up. Are you pulling your belly button back towards your spine? We want to get into the habit of always trying to keep it on and braced here, like we're ready to be strong in our movements, okay? 3, 2, 1, hand curl. The goal of our warm-up is to get those joints lubricated and prepared to work, right? Those muscles warmed up, get that body temperature up. 3, 2, 1, knee raise, okay? If the arm pulling down is too much, maybe you can just do the knee raises, okay? Or take it to a seated position. You still want to get that arm raise in, but it feels a little too challenging to do them both standing, okay? Side steps are next with that lateral raise. Whew. These are tricky here. Go at your own tempo. 3, 2, and 1, side to side. All right, just up to shoulder height with those arms. Keep it going. We have our side bends next. Three, 2, and 1, side bends. Remember, you can always come a little bit more forward and over right here. If your shoulders are talking to you, this feels a little too intense, okay? Last exercise coming up, our step back with that calf. In 3, 2, and 1. Here we go, last one. So we're stepping back, heels in the ground here, front raise, boom, boom. So I'm coming right out front with those arms, knuckles up towards the ceiling, right to shoulder height. And I'm making sure my heel on that back leg touches the ground every time. That's how we know we're getting into our calf. And we're also getting into good hip extension. 3, 2, and 1. Remember, hip extension is when we use our glutes and we stretch out through here. It's when hip extension is when this area is lengthened. Remember, think about how much we sit. Okay, so that really is an important movement for us to do, hip extension. Okay, so next block. A lot of last week's exercises, the format's just going to be a little different, whereas we're going to do 6 exercises for 18 minutes. Okay, 3 rounds through. 45, 15, you're going to take your rest. If you need extra rest, that's okay. Get your drink, recover, recoup, and come back. Our exercises on the list today are with lightweight or no weight, our no money drill, and a march. Okay, so core, coordination, and shoulder girdle health, posture health, okay? We want to keep those elbows close to the rib cage. And again, lightweight or no weight here, all right? And we're going to do that march as well. So brain health, core health, shoulder health on that first one, all right? Then we're going to do our ground to overhead. So remember, when we do our ground to overhead, that's like when we're picking up that box in between our legs and putting it on the shelf, right? So we want to have enough space that we can pick up the item in between our legs, that we can pick up the item, right? So we don't want our legs too close together, right? And we're going to push back. If you see how my hips initiate and push back first, right? And then I lean forward. Okay, so I'm really using my glutes right at this point when I pick that box up. My core is engaged, my glutes are engaged. So I pick it up with my core and my glutes, keep them engaged as I put it away, okay? All right, so that's gonna look the same seated. After that, we're gonna do a sit squat to with a bicep curl in the seat, okay? These two are gonna be a little tough back to back, I'm not gonna lie. So if you need a little extra rest, and remember, slow your pace down if you need to make sure you're getting quality reps. We're going to be seated to start. We're gonna bicep curl, and we're gonna stay right here in our seat. Then we're gonna drive it up. This is a front squat when you keep your weight right here, okay? We're gonna sit it down, finish the bicep curl, okay? Front squat, down, curl, here, front squat, down, okay? So we're keeping those weights up right here to get up. That's going to really challenge our core by keeping that weight up higher, okay? Similar to our goblet squat, right? So seated variation, we're gonna do leg extension, curl, okay? All right, after that, we've got sumo, we've got 4 alt single arm press, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? So upper body, a little conditioning here, 4 and 4. If that is uncomfortable, you can just take it to bicep curls, 3, 4, and then still do your pivot and punch, okay? All right, and then after that, we have sumo squat, all right? So nice and wide, toes out, squat, drive up, squat, drive up. Knees stay out this way, okay? And seated, lateral leg extension, lateral leg. After that, we have gorilla hinge and row, wide, toes are forward now. Sumo squat, we're right here with the toes out this way. Gorilla row, the toes come forward, okay? So we're going to kind of like our pick it up and put it down. We're gonna act like we're gonna pick it up, but then we're gonna pull the weed, stand up, right? Pull the weed, stand up, okay? So we've got this wide stance, row, row, use the glutes up, okay? All right, that's it, all right, guys? So let's get ready. We're gonna start with our no money drill march, okay? So here we go, in 3, 2, and 1. All right, so elbows stay close to the rib cage. We're focused on internal and external rotation through the shoulder complex. We're focused on core stability through our marching. And we're focused on coordination and brain health by doing movement and putting, like 2 separate movements together at once. Remember, if you're seated, good. Got 5 more seconds here. 2 and 1, okay. We're moving on to our ground to overhead. So just like our gorilla row, we're wide with our stance, wider than shoulder width, but the toes are forward, okay? So, or ground to overhead, ground to overhead. So we're gonna pick it up and put it away. So here we go, pick it up off the floor, use the glutes and the core to drive up and put it away, okay? As you're picking that box up, you really wanna feel your glutes engaging, and as you're putting it away, you wanna feel how your core, that belly button is pulled back, all right? Along with that glute squeeze. Good, keep it going. Looks the same seated here. We're just picking the box up off the floor and putting it away. 3, 2, and 1. Okay, here we go. We're going to move into that sit squat. We're going to start on our chair. All right, we're going to bicep curl halfway. We're going to keep it up here, and then we're going to drive and stand up, sit it down, finish the curl. Here we go. Curl, drive up, tap it down, curl, curl. Okay, you follow your own tempo. If mine isn't matching your own rhythm, remember the quality of your work is most important, okay? You're seated is leg extension, curl. There it is. Leg extension, curl. All right, so here I am with my seated variety here. 10 more seconds here. 2, and 1. Okay, we're moving on to our single arm press, alternating for 4, and then our cross body punches for 4, okay? Lighter weights here, okay, and here we go. So you can take it into a bicep curl, alternating for 4 if overhead doesn't feel good. And this looks similar seated. We just take that pivot out on the back foot because we're in a seated position. Good, 5 more seconds. 2, and 1. Sumo squats are coming up, okay? So now we have that wide stance. Once again, the heels are outside the width of our shoulders, but the toes are pointed outwards, so our knees come out that way too, okay? So we're gonna be a little more upright through the chest. Here we go. We're gonna lower down, drive it up. You see the difference when I hinge and I do my gorilla row? You see how my chest is up higher. I'm not like taking a back. So the difference is we stay a little more upright here. There's more knee flexion versus this, right? Okay, so see how subtle, but it's there, okay? Go ahead and press through your heels. We're working a lot of the outside of the glute and the inner thigh here, okay? Ten more seconds here. Oh, if you're seated, I forgot. Lateral to leg extension, okay? This is your seated variation right here. Time, okay. Hinge and gorilla row. So now we're gonna be just as wide as we just were, but our toes are facing forward, okay? And we're gonna push our hips back and we're gonna hinge now, okay? So our chest comes down a little more. You see that? We're gonna row and row. Now use the glutes and core to stand up. Back down. Row, row. Think you're like bending over to grip one of those nasty onion weeds you're trying to pull out of your lawn. You know those weeds that just don't want to come out of the ground, right? You'd have to engage your glutes and your core to have that stability to pull it out, okay? This looks very similar, seated here. Row, row, upright, okay? And time. Okay, we are going back to the top already. We are back to the top, yep. So round 2, no money drill march, okay? Here we go in 3, 2, and 1. We have a quick challenge here and around 2. Work with me here. See if you can hold on one side. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's switch it up. Other side. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. Okay. Moving on to the next exercise. We're back to ground to overhead. Pick it up, put it away. Feet are wider than shoulder width. Toes are forward, right? Here we go. Push the hips up, back, pick up the box, engage the core and glutes, put it away. The goal is to feel a nice strong contraction through the glutes as you're lifting that box up off the floor, AKA our weights. And then you feel the glutes and the core, especially, the core should be engaged the whole time, but you feel especially strong as you're trying to put that box away, okay? This translates to real life, picking something up and putting it on a shelf. We want to make sure we do these movements and understand how to brace and engage when we do them. for real life situations. Time, okay. Sit squat with that bicep curl. So we're gonna start seated. So we can do the half bicep curl to the top, and then we're gonna stand up and do our front squat, okay? 3, 2, and 1. So curl it up, and then drive it up. Put it back down. Going at your pace. So we went to a deadlift pattern, a hinge pattern, and our pick it up and put it away to a squat pattern. Okay, so there's hinge and squat are two separate movement patterns, but they look so similar. And they both target the lower body, just kind of different areas. Good, almost there. 3, 2, and 1. Okay, break from the lower body. We're gonna go single for 4 overhead press, or give me a bicep curl if that's better, into our 4 cross body punches, okay? Let's get ready, seated or standing. Here we go. Good. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. Past halfway on this one. Then we've got sumo squats. Good. 5 seconds. 3, 2, and 1. Okay. Sumo squats are next, guys. Get your drinks whenever you need it. So you have to start a little late or stop a little early. That's totally okay, right? We're going for 18 minutes straight today. Heels, right outside of shoulder width. Toes are out. We're gonna sink it down, knees stay out, and drive it up. Remember, now we're in that squat pattern again, so our chest stays a little more upright, right? Versus our hinge, when our chest kind of goes more down towards the floor. All right. A lot more emphasis on the inner and outer thighs here. Still really driving up through my heels, trying to keep those glutes. I'm talking to them, like as I'm talking to you, I'm saying contract, do your thing, okay? The more we do that over time, the stronger that connection comes, okay? We're creating those little pathways, you know, from our brain through our central nervous system to our muscles, okay? So that's what keeps our brain working well too, okay? All right, next one, gorilla hinge and row, okay? So we're still just as wide as that sumo squat, but the toes are forward now. And what are we doing with our chest? It's coming down further here now. So my hips come back further. I'm gonna pull that onion weed, pull that other onion weed, and then squeeze to stand. Row, row, stand. Still using the glutes and core, along with the lats here. The lats are what we're working when we do our rowing, and they're the largest muscle group in the upper body. And they really help support our shoulder. So underneath our shoulder complex. 3, 2, and 1. All right, we're going one more round through, guys. Okay, so if you need a drink, go ahead and get it. We're going back to our no money drill and march, okay? And here we go. The stronger our deepest core muscles get, which are the transverse abdominals, they're the deepest layer of core muscles we have. It's actually like a corset around our spine. It's like circular around our spine. The stronger that gets, when you exhale, you're really gonna start to feel your tummy, like that air come out of your stomach. Okay. And time, okay. All done with those. We're going back to ground to overhead. Okay, so you see this theme of this wide stance that we're focusing on today. Okay, so toes are forward. I'm wider than shoulder width apart. I'm gonna pick that box up and I'm gonna put it on the shelf. All right, here we go. Push the hips back towards the wall behind you, core and glutes engaged. Pick it up, put it away. It's really important to think about your hips moving back as your upper body leans forward to pick up, okay? You wanna think of those hips going back first versus like your head just bending forward and not being aware of what your glutes are doing in that process, okay? Good, 10 more seconds here. And we're gonna do our bicep curl sit squat. And time, okay. Ooh, another complex moving coming up. Okay, so we're gonna start seated, half curl it, and then drive up into that front squat, okay? 3, 2, and 1. Half curl, drive up. Sit squats are great because they really teach you the proper mechanics of a squat. Plus, we want to be able to get in and out of our chair with ease for as long as possible, right? And it really does come down to, using and working those muscles, and, as long as you're not suffering from anything that's disabling you, it's that use it or lose it, right? And time on those, all done with those. Okay, so now we are moving into our ground overhead. Now we have our 4 alternating overhead presses. You can make into a bicep curl if you need to, and 4 punches. Here we go. Almost done this one. And we go to sumo squats. 3, 2, and 1. Good, we're going to sumo squats next. So heels are right outside the width of our shoulder. Toes are flared out. Those knees are gonna stay in that direction, okay? I'm gonna do it from the side angle here. All right, and 3, 2, 1. We sink the hips back and down. That way, instead of just back, we go back and down, and that helps keep our chest up. Think about those knees pushing out to the sides, because that's going to help you feel your inner thighs and your outer glute area engage a little more as you drive up. When you think of keeping those knees in line with the toes. We've got our hinge with the gorilla row next, and then we are done with this block. 3, 2, and 1. Okay. Final exercise coming up here, guys. Okay, and then we're done with that first 18-minute block. Okay, nice and wide with that stance. Once again, toes forward this time. Back to hinge. Okay, gorilla row. Let's get ready. So now I'm just pushing the hips back instead of back and down, right? So I can pull that lead, squeeze the glutes up. Core engaged. Trying to make that mind muscle connection to the lats in our back as we row, and then our glutes and hamstrings as we squeeze up to stand. Just 15 more seconds here, guys. Now 10. 5, 2, And time. Good job, guys. Okay, all right. Next block. Only one change from last week. We're still gonna do an upper body 8-minute block here. 30 seconds of work, 10 seconds recovery. 4 exercises, just one slight change. Our first exercise is our tricep kickbacks, okay? So soft knee, right? Soft hip, okay? Core engaged though. All right, glutes engaged too, okay? That's gonna help take pressure off your lower back. And we're gonna go ahead and extend, really focus on this muscle group right here. After that, we're gonna go into a lateral raise to front raise. I'm sorry, I did that wrong. Let me get my weights. A lateral raise and a front raise. That's it. Like an L, right? We're making an L here, okay? So 1 and 1. It's nice and seamless. Like once you get the rhythm down, it's like, woo, it just kind of flows, okay? All right. So we've got our L raise. And then after that, bicep curls. Okay? Bicep curls. After that, we're going to do our goalpost fly with internal and external rotation. So remember, these are the ones, this is going to be your weakest link exercise. These are the smallest muscle groups out of this whole circuit that we're working. So this should be your lightest weight or no weight, okay? Or if you're using a very light weight throughout all your exercises, then it's going to be the same, okay? So it's, just keep that in mind. These are the smallest muscle groups when we do those, okay? All right, 8-minute block, 30 seconds of each. Upper body blast here. So let's get ready. We're going to start with our tricep kickbacks, okay? So let's get ready in 3, 2, and 1. Show you how you're on your chair. I'm kind of on the edge of my chair here, and I'm just leaning forward and kicking back from a seated position here too, okay? So you can do this seated or standing. The goal is you want to feel those triceps, and that when they're extended long like this, that's when the muscle is contracted, okay? Think about that squeeze. 3, 2, and 1. Okay, we're going to do that L raise, which is our front raise and lateral raise combined, okay? All right, keep that core nice and tight. Keep those glutes squeezed, okay? Seated or standing on this one. This is going to look the same. You're standing there, that core and glute contraction is really important here. 10 more seconds. 3, 2, and 1 on that one. Bicep curls are next, okay? Bicep curls. 3, 2, and 1. If you want to make them a little bit harder, say you're like, oh, I think I could handle a little more weight, keep your elbows close to your rib cage and then bring your palms out. You see how I'm a little wider? Yeah, that's it right there. This is a little bit harder to do than just straight forward, okay? So if you need an extra challenge and you don't have a heavier weight, see if playing with that angle challenges you a little bit more. 2, woo, and 1. Okay, we've got that goal post fly with the rotation. I have 5s here. I'm going to put those down and go with my 2-pound weights or no weights here, okay? So I'm keeping my core engaged. My glutes are squeezed, especially here, because when we pull back to this point of the goalpost right here, if we have limited range of motion and we're not engaging our glutes, there's going to be a bigger tendency to try to arch your back to give you the range that you don't have, right? So keep the glutes engaged and only go through the range your body allows you. Okay, back to the top. Round 2, we're going to go back to tricep kickbacks, okay? 8 minutes of upper body, straight upper body. Here we go. Hitting those arms. Halfway. Good. 3, 2, and 1. Okay. Lateral raise to front raise, that L shape we're making next, okay? So seated or standing here. Again, remember when you're standing, tuck, scoop, okay? Woo! These are toughies. These are shoulder burners here. 10 more seconds here, and we're into bicep curls next. Woo! 2, and 1. Oh man, bicep curls. Okay, remember that little trick. If you need to try to make it a little bit harder, you can keep those elbows tucked to the rib cage and just bring your a wider palm, you know, wider hand distance. And if that starts to get too challenging, you can always just bring it inwards, right? Okay, or maybe you want to be fancy and be like, I do 1 in and 1 out, okay? 5 more seconds. Woo! 3, 2, and 1. Nice work. We are moving back to that goalpost fly with rotation. All right, hitting those backs of the shoulders, that whole shoulder complex. Core engaged, glutes engaged, right? Because if I'm not tucking my glutes and making sure as I pull back right here, right? If I have limited range and I'm like, no, I want to get right to here. Like if my body only wants to come to here, but I want it to come to here and my glutes aren't engaged, something like this might happen to make it happen, right? And then I'm putting all this stress on my lower back. We don't want that, okay? And time. Okay, one more round through on this arm series, and then we've got a finisher block, okay? So back to the top, we've got our tricep kickbacks, last round of these. Talk to your tricep muscle. Ten more seconds. 3, 2, and 1 on those, okay? Lateral raise to front raise. Whew. I'm feeling the accumulated fatigue on these. These are tough for me today, okay? Core tight, glutes engaged for scooping and tucking. Here we go, boom. So the arm that's moving up and in front of us is getting the front muscle in the shoulder. And the one that's coming out to the side is getting the top muscle in the shoulder. We have 3 muscle groups in the shoulder, one in the front, one up top, and one in the back. And we need to make sure we address all of them when we exercise. Time. Okay, last set of bicep curls here. Core scooped, pelvic tucked. Here we go. So in this little 8-minute circuit, we're getting the front of the arm, the back of the arm, and the whole entire shoulder, the front, middle, and back. 2, and 1. Okay, final exercise in this block, our goalpost fly with that internal and external rotation. Okay, so here I am in that pelvic tuck once again, going back. Internal, external, internal, external. See that? Whew, almost there. 5, 2, and time. Nice work. All right, hopefully you're feeling a nice little burn in that upper body. We've got one more block to finish with. It is a 6-minute Tabata. And it is, it is identical to last week. We've got the slip rope squat, bringing that back in. Okay, so remember we have that, just in case anyone's new here, we have that imaginary rope right at our shoulder, and we want to get underneath it and over, right? So we got to under and over, right? So it's this side step as we come over, right? Side step and over, right? Good. Okay, so we've got that, and we've got 1, 2, 3, hold. 1, 2, 3, hold. Okay, so we're doing laterals for both exercises. That is your core focus, you know, right there. If you want to bring a little extra oomph and gusto to it, you can do like a foot pot, like 1, 2, 3, hold, like a little shuffle. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Maybe you can on 3 can boom. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's if you're advanced. Don't feel like you have to do that. Okay, so you just do you. All right, so let's get ready here. We're going to do our slip rope squat, and it's on a Tabata pyramid format. Okay, so it's going to intensify in the middle and then go back down at the end. Okay, so oh geez. Sorry guys, I just lost. I thought I tapped on my Tabata pyramid and I tapped, there it is. Okay, tapped on the wrong one. Okay, so slip rope squat, all right? Imaginary rope, under and over, okay? And feel that weight transfer. It goes from one hip to the other, okay? Here we go, 3, 2, 1. I'm gonna demo in our seated variation here. Okay, so your feet stay wide and you're just clearing your head over and under. This feels like a really nice stretch for your back. Okay, so maybe if your back's sore and you can do the standing variety, maybe one day you like to do this just for the extra stretch. Okay, and time. Okay, so now we're going into our lateral 3 count march, or you can turn that into a shuffle. Okay, all right, 3, 2, and 1. So 1, 2, 3. This is my seated variation work. Opposite hand and foot. Five more seconds. 2, and 1. Okay, back to our slip rope squat. Okay, so we have to slip underneath that rope. Okay, got to duck under it. 2, 1, under and over. All right, so I sidestep as I duck under and bring that other leg to match the other one, right? Feel that weight, feel that transfer of your weight go from one hip to the other. Ten more seconds. And we're back to that lateral 3 count march. Or if you want to intensify it, make it a shuffle. You can do that too. 2, and 1. All right. We're at 50 seconds for these 2 exercises, the next 2 rounds now. Here we go. Begin. 1, 2, 3. So again, you can be here, or maybe you can put a little bounce in it, okay? If you can't, no worries, okay? You do you. You know your body, right? And the goal is for health, longevity. So you do what's appropriate for you. Almost done this 50 seconds. Then we have 50 seconds of our slip rope squat. 3, 2, and 1. Okay, we're not done with those big ones yet. This is the last 50-second one here. Back to our first exercise. 3, 2, 1. Lean into that discomfort. If you feel like your heart's working a little hard, but you know, it feels appropriate, you know, like exercise work, like you're working, lean into it if it feels a little uncomfortable. As long as it's not sharp and acute pain and your body warning you to stop for some reason or another, it's okay to push through that discomfort, okay? Under and over. Three, two, whew, and one. All right, these sets all get shorter from here. We're going to 40 seconds of our lateral 3-count march or your shuffle, okay? Whew, 3, 2, and 1. Here we go. Maybe you want to focus on how high can I pick my knees up? It might slow your pace down, but you might find increased challenge in trying to get that knee up higher, okay? There's different ways you can play around with this exercise. 10 more seconds. 5, 2, and time. Excellent. Whew, okay. All right, we're going to 30 seconds, slip rope squat. And this is our last round of these two. Here we go. All right, under and over. Under and over. Transferring from one hip to the other. All your weight goes on one side because there's a brief moment where when you're picking that leg up to move it over, you're standing on one leg as you're bent forward, okay? That's a lot of muscle in your hip you need to activate to be able to do that. And your glutes in your hip. And time, okay, last one, just 20 seconds of our lateral shuffle or lateral 3-count high knee, all right? 3, 2, and 1. Let's finish strong. Really get those arms pumping. Think of that opposite hand foot pattern. It's really good for our brain health when we think about our patterns and stay focused on what we're doing. 2, and 1. Nice work, guys. All right, catch your breath, take a drink. We're gonna do a quick cool down here. Okay, so let's start with, I saw this stretch. I don't know how I haven't thought of it before because I love doing half kneeling hip flexor stretches, but on this type of format, I don't like to go under the floor a lot because I don't know who, everyone's ability here, right? So this is a stretch for your hip flexor from a chair. Now I recognize if your chair might have arms, this may be a little bit more difficult to do, but if you have a chair like mine, I really want to show you guys this because I think it's invaluable, okay? The idea is, remember how I said in the beginning of class, like we're often sitting, so this is constantly shortened, okay? This can cause low back pain when this is tight, even though it's in the front of your body, right? So I'm sitting, it's like a 90-degree and a 90-degree, right? So squeezing, I have to be squeezing my glute, and you should feel a stretch through the front of your quadricep and right here, this hip flexor area, okay? Good. And the more you can keep this squeezed, the more you're going to feel it here, and it's also going to protect you here in your lower back, okay? So if you can keep this glute squeezed, and you're just focused on feeling this stretch through here. Good. And then we're going to go ahead and relax. Now we're going to we're going to stay on this side. We just stretched the front of that. We're going to go into our figure 4, and we're going to stretch the back side of that hip now, okay? So it's still on the same leg. All right, so I'm going into my figure 4, thinking of that string pulling me up nice and tall, and then just gently taking a bow forward, showing from the side. This is how much I have to, once I'm up and tall, I bend forward this much, and I'm like, oh, I feel the stretch right here. I'm not going far, and I'm not losing that structure in my spine, you know what I mean? I'm not doing this. I'm staying upright, and that's how you get into it, okay? So, deep little stretch right there. Oh, sorry guys. It is, okay, and we're gonna do, sorry, it's like, I get so many spam calls anymore. I don't know what happens now, my number got, okay. Other side for these two stretches now, okay? So if you're in a chair where you don't have a side, I really would like you to try this to see if you find the benefit that I do in this stretch. I think it's an important stretch for everybody to do because of how much we sit nowadays, okay? So again, the idea is I'm 90 degree through this knee and I'm 90 degree through that back. I'm squeezing this glute, okay? So that I can really start to feel the stretch right through here, all right? Good, good. And I just really try to relax because remember, again, the goal with stretching is not to force a stretch, right? That's just gonna seize the muscle up if you try to force it. We wanna just try to almost get comfortable in it, like feel like you can hang out there for a while. So you're not trying to take it so far that it's not manageable to hold, okay? But you just wanna feel it, right? You wanna feel sensation. All right, so from there, let's come out of that one. And then we're gonna get the back side on the same leg, okay, by doing our figure four. All right, so we did all that wide leg lower body work today. So these are two nice complementary stretches for that specific work we did. Good. And from there, let's go ahead and release that. All right, we'll go ahead and do some neck and trap. I always think it's important to focus on our shoulder complex as well. Shoulders, hips, and spine. You can't go wrong addressing those areas. Same thing, other side. Good. Let's get a little stretch through the front of the chest here. What we're going to do today, instead of doing our palms on our back, see if you can see, you know, you don't have to go elbow to elbow here like this or anything like that. See where your range of motion is. All right, keep your glutes engaged here. Okay, if you're standing especially, keep yourself engaged because you don't want that low back to arch and fool you into thinking that you're getting a stretch in the front, right? All right, so you're just trying to search for that opening through this area here. Good, and then we're gonna finish off with, this is considered a modified cat-cow, right? Like if you were on the floor, you'd be doing, or not cat-cow, bird, down dog. Too many animal names. All right, and we're doing our forward fold. This is an excellent stretch because it gets into our shoulders, our back, our glutes, and our hamstrings, and our calves, okay? So you can kind of like walk the dog here, which just means you're lifting one heel and then dropping the other, lift and drop, okay? Little ankle health while we're getting this stretch. And then you can put your feet both down, and if it feels okay for you, you can kind of sway your hips side to side and feel that stretch on either side of your side body and on either side of your sacrum and your lower back here. And if it feels better to stay still, that's okay too, okay? All right, when you're ready, let's go ahead and slowly walk it up to standing. We're gonna go ahead and inhale, palms together, exhale, hands to heart, one more. All right, guys, thank you so much for coming today. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you have a great day.